Hey there, Strong family. This is Pat Ogletree, and in this video I want to talk to you about prevailing winds in the wintertime, and specifically how they affect the fish and how they affect the positioning of the fish, which shorelines you should be targeting, and which shorelines you should stay away from. So we're going to do a little bit of map work. Let's go there first. I picked an area over here on the west coast of Florida. This is Crystal River. Now, just because we're talking about Crystal River doesn't mean this won't work in any of your areas. This is just fishing theory that sticks. Doesn't matter if you're in Texas, Louisiana, Florida, all the way up to Virginia. This same theory will stand true. Now, I was going to fish this area right here. This is two creeks that converge into the main river. And the past couple of days before I had went out to this area to check it out, there had been a wind that was blowing out of the south. Now, it was a cooling trend. It had been cold for the past couple of days. It was down in the 30s, so that's Florida cold. But what was happening in this situation was every time that there was a tide cycle, these two creeks would empty out, and then they would obviously fill back up. Well, with that south-facing cold wind, and you see this really long fetch, this really long stretch of area that the wind had to cool this water down. Well, every time that the tide was going back up, it was filling these creeks back up with cold water. So no fish, is going to be comfortable in the coldest water in the area. They're looking for warm water. In the wintertime, your typical pattern is to find wind protection. It's going to be as the front passes on the coldest days, you're going to go into deep water. And then the past couple of days after the cold front goes through, sun comes out, we're looking for warm, shallow water with muddy bottom and definitely wind protection. Well, that particular day, the wind was going to shift out of the south into the west. And the thought process was these two shorelines were going to be wind protected. And they were wind protected. But the problem is this whole creek system filled up with cold water. What should have happened, what I should have done was fish the more wind protected shorelines like these down here. The wind was coming out of the south. And then when the wind changed directions, then maybe move to something that was in a different direction. But the best scenario to look at would be something like this over in this island. This would have been perfect in that scenario. So the past couple of days, we had that cold wind that was blowing out of the south. The fish would have stacked along this shoreline right here, and they would have been as comfortable as they could be in the sun and with all that wind protection. Well, what happens when the wind would shift over from the south to the west, then this would be your wind protected shoreline. And all that would have to happen, this fish would just have to move over just a few yards and then have this whole area to stay warm. Fish in the wintertime, they don't like to have to move very far. If you're fishing far away from either deep water shelter or wind protection, you're probably in the wrong area. But areas like this are great because they don't have to move very far. Matter of fact, as I was looking at this island, we've got a cove right here that's got a dark, muddy bottom. That probably would have been great, especially on a bright, sunny day. We've got all kinds of wind protection with the mangroves around there. But these are the type of places that we need to look at for considering prevailing winds, the winds that have been blowing in a certain direction for a certain amount of days. Now, let's say, we had a different scenario. The wind was coming out of the north for a couple of days and it was going to switch east. Well, you look at your map and I found a spot over here. This would be a perfect little scenario, perfect little bay right here. The winds could be blowing out of the north, and then if they switch either to the east or to the west, then all the fish have to do is move from this shoreline over to this shoreline and you still have wind protection. They don't have to go very far. So as it's important when we're doing our planning for the day to look at what the winds are going to doing, we also need to look back a couple of days to see what the winds have already done. Another scenario that you could be facing is something like this bay right here that we were just talking about. Same scenario. If the wind was blowing out of the south, it's blowing all of this cold water into this bay. So if the wind shifted directions, yeah, this would be wind protected over here, but this bay would be just full of cold water. Whereas if we just go across the channel, we've got the exact opposite being true. This would have been wind protected the whole time. Winds shift out of the west, then you could be, fish these bays and these little creeks and channels like that and have a lot warmer water. And there's going to be more bait fish in there and there's going to be more fish. They're just going to be more comfortable in those type of situations. So I hope you learned something from this video that's going to help you put some more fish in the boat next time. And if you like videos like this and tips like this, you should really join us in the Insider group. And if you're new to Salt Strong, just know we're the best online fishing club in America, especially if you're interested in catching redfish, sea trout, snook, and flounder. There's nothing else like it. We actually guarantee that you catch more fish while saving time and money. We do this through premium education, our exclusive insider fishing community, and huge discounts on the best tackle for saltwater anglers. To learn more, go to saltstrong.com. Otherwise, we hope to see you again soon.